for our session, easy Salesforce CI/CD for everyone, using open source only, and when we say for everyone, we really mean it. Let's go ahead. So, of course, we would like to have your feedback, guys, so don't hesitate to do that with the QR code you got there or on the mobile app. Please give us your feedback. It's important for us to get even better next year.
Maybe it's my turn to speak? Okay, yeah. So my name is Nicolas Vuillamy, and I am CTO at Cloudity. And who are you?
I'm Jean-Pierre Rizzi. I'm a senior consultant and project manager at Cloudity. And so you could say I am the admin that maybe shouldn't be in this room, but that's actually cool, right?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect.
And me, as you can guess, if you didn't see my shirt with code, I am the developer today. So we'll see how we can work together on the same stuff.
Oh yeah, thank you. So a quick word about one thing you're going to see throughout the presentation. So we are Cloudity, which is a pan-European Summit pure player partner based mainly in Paris and Poland. But we're going to see a lot Hardis in those slides. That's basically the brand for the open source product that we're going to be talking about today. So this is just for you guys to get your bearings. Okay, CI/CD with Salesforce. Why should we do that?
Maybe we can start by some basics. So basics, we know that Salesforce is a software, after all. But what is a software? And I think I can try to quiz my little admin here and ask him what you can find in a software, for example. Any software, not even a Salesforce one.
Okay, let's do this. Well, I guess you could have a user interface that could be practical.
Those things.
Yeah.
What else?
And then you're going to have some sort of, intelligence, like functions, doing some logic.
Are you sure not a developer? So, and what is when you have a UI and you have something to work with this UI and do stuff, what else do you need?
Well, I guess you need, and we've been talking about that at Dreamforce 2023, maybe data with a database?
Maybe
nice.
Maybe I will hire you as a developer someday.
This is some high-level stuff, man. Okay, this has been quite entertaining, but we're here to talk about Salesforce, Nicolas, so please.
That's what?
Yeah, okay. So, we mentioned UI earlier, but what do you find as UI in Salesforce? Please go ahead.
As I am a dev, I know LWC.
Yeah, right. I don't do LWC. So,
Okay, for people like you, maybe flexi pages, stuff like that.
Thank you.
Low code stuff.
Yeah.
Low code.
Please.
Oh,
nice.
I know Salesforce.
And so, when we speak about functions, when we talk about functions, what do we mean in Salesforce?
I know. I'm a coder. Apex.
Again, I don't do that, man. I'm sorry.
What are you useful for?
You know. You don't. Maybe you don't like the word, but you know.
Flows.
Yeah, exactly.
So you are kind of a developer too, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think I got this one.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So for the database in Salesforce, it is a schema builder, object manager, the same.
Nice.
Okay, so we can create a database without knowing any SQL or whatever with Salesforce.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so little show, but why? To say some conclusions. First one is that independing you are an admin or a developer, you are all designers, all of you.
And believe it or not, we are all actually developers.
Yeah, because when you build the flow, you have input data, output data, and do stuff in the middle. For me, it is a function, it is code. And I think we are also all database administrators, because without any knowledge about what is a database, you are able to interact with a database. But why is that?
We all interact with Salesforce metadata. This is a key point we need to remember from our introduction. We all work on the same stuff.
Metadata is what you build with design, with development, with database. Everything is all metadata for Salesforce. Metadata, big or full XML files, but this is what you can deploy from an org to another. And why is it important to have metadata working together, even if it is a LWC, if it is a custom objects, etc.
Because any metadata update can actually impact everything. Even the slightest change at the field level can actually break your org.
So saying DevOps is just for code is not clever, because you can add a required field on a custom object. It can break 10 flows, dozens of Apex code, and mostly your client business processes. That's why it is very important to have versioning, to have a simple picture of all your metadata that you can deploy from an environment to another. So like, for example, from development to UAT but this for later.
Yes, indeed. Okay, I like this one. Who loves change sets? Come on, guys. Come on. Okay, who used to love change sets? Yeah, we had some sort of a love story with change set at some point.
I have one who still uses change set.
Yeah, nobody's gonna. Right, of course. Guys, we can say this is the old way without CI/CD, but at some point, it was fine. We were happy to use it. It was very useful. We wanted to deploy stuff. It was quite easy, but hey, we got to recognize we have a major misalignment here. And so basically, everybody working on their metadata, putting their change sets together, deploying it to pre-prod, not even checking for code coverage for the developers, and then you got your hotfix sandbox as well coming there. And so you push everything, you push, and then you end up in production with things broken, not working, and regression bugs. So, no one is to blame, but this is the old way. So with CI/CD, every time you want to go somewhere, you first go through the lobby, you knock on the door, and you're like, okay, let's get together and see if we can actually put this metadata together. And so everybody is aligned, we got processes, we got people knowing what they do when there are some errors and needing to merge stuff. And that way, every time you go into the next level org, it's easier, you've got fewer bugs. Of course, you can still have some, we're not 100% perfect, but then you deploy quality stuff. Like the stuff you've worked on, it's deployed in a qualitative manner on the production org.
And you can have a very good use case that all of you know. When you say to your client, okay, you can test in a sandbox, client tests, okay, it's all working. And then you do change set, it goes to production, not working. This is over with CI/CD, and that's why we want to convince you about that.
What are your options with DevOps with Salesforce?
So yes, how can we do that? Now you are all convinced that change sets are over and you need to stop them. The first ones are to open your wallet and spend a lot of money. Those are great products. Really, they are great products, and to be totally honest, they are better than what we will propose later. But again, price. And I think not a cheap price. So you can spend $200 by user by month just to manage your deployment. So it's a good investment if you have money, a lot of money, but sometimes you want to save money. And in that case, you can build yourself your CI/CD pipeline. So you take a beginner like me, you say, hey Nico, can you build dozens of lines of scripts to call Salesforce to manage a real DevOps stuff like in basically any other technology for 10, 15 years. If you do Java, you take someone used to Java, Python, Node.js, and you show it a change set, they will kill you because it's over, this thing. So you can build it yourself, but it requires heavy DevOps expertise. You can also use what people with expertise built for you and shared as open source. You can use the DXScale, which has been built by Accenture and Aslam Abdul Salam. It is great, but it's for very complicated projects with multi-packaging, etc. And it's not applicable to simple projects like most of the one we see every day. And there is also the new one, not so new, it's 2 years ago, but there is always a new feature, and I will also announce a new feature at the end of the demo. And Sfdx-hardis, basically, it will allow you to have like homemade pipeline, but in 2 hours installation. And we had to talk about it because it exists. DevOps Center. So Salesforce understood that change set are over. So this is the new change set. But to me, it looks like a little bit too much to change set today. So for simple projects with not a lot of people on it, and people knowing how to merge Git configs, it can work. But the product is still young, so if you have heavy use cases, it is, in my humble opinion, not so ready yet.
Failed product.
Oh, so a little ecosystem summary. So before starting to create a Sfdx-hardis, we looked what was elsewhere. We didn't want to create something that was already existing. So we looked at third-party products, and our clients said too expensive. We looked at DevOps centers, and we didn't propose it to our clients. We looked at homemade pipelines, and we used to do homemade pipelines, but we had to create one for each project, and we are a Salesforce consulting partner, so it was very heavy to set up and to maintain. So we looked at data scale, and it was too complicated for our simple project. Not so simple. And then we decided to create Sfdx-hardis, which is easy to set up, who manage versioning, who has a UI that we will show you later, and is totally free and open source. No black box, and no money.
And money. Oh, sorry, that's a bad word in open source. Sorry, no.
We told the session was for everyone, even the one handling money.
Yeah, but let's talk about time, and as we all know, time is. So with the homemade pipelines, even though it's free, you're gonna spend a lot of time building recurring stuff, and so you're gonna spend a lot of time building stuff for every and each of your project. So that's time you'd rather spend on building stuff, building features. With out of the box, let's say Sfdx-hardis pipeline, much script is actually already written, so you just need to adapt a little bit. And so you've got a huge one-off, let's say, cost in terms of time, which was already taken care of by Nicolas and the community. And then you can just quickly, fine-tune it for your use. And that's actually very easy to do because it requires minimal DevOps expertise. It's easier in setup and maintenance than homemade pipelines. And most of all, contributors can work with clicks and not command lines. That's much better.
Seems like to be the Salesforce way. Okay, so what is a Sfdx-hardis? First, it is stuff for Node, command lines. So it is custom command lines as a Salesforce DX plugin, and what they do is orchestrate core command lines. So today, if you want to do DevOps manually, you have to do big, long Bash, Python, or whatever scripts, and you have to call base Salesforce DX commands. We do that for you. You can also use advanced use case. Let's, for example, imagine that you have a new big client and you are in the build phase, and he wants reports. So you create 10, 20 reports, and you will want to deploy them to production so they can be used. Okay, we can do that. But the client says, okay, but these are my reports. I want to be able to update them in production and not overwrite every time with the initial version of the report. We can do that too with a simple configuration file. Sorry. And of course, it is open source, fully documented. So we have videos, we have tutorials, and anytime you see something missing, just ask it, and we will create it. Because we want it to be simple for everyone. You can also install it on any CI/CD pipeline tool. So today we are natively compliant. You can install Sfdx-hardis in 2 hours with GitLab, Azure DevOps, and GitHub, and very soon Bitbucket. And also, like we are us developers, we are kind of lazy when we need a feature and it's already existing. We don't create it again. We just reuse it, and thanks to the Opensource community building Sfdx plugins, there are some that we use for data loading, for Git stuff, for advanced operations like Texas plugin. Thank you, Fabien. We also have plugin authors in this room. That's cool. And as you can see with the little statistics, it is working. It is downloaded pretty by week. So people put stars. If you have a GitHub account, we like stars. So if you can put a star on the GitHub repository, we love it. And you see that there is already 12 contributors, and half of them are not from Cloudity. So this is really beginning to be a Trailblazer project more than a Cloudity project. And there is also something else, because when I created the first version of the plugin, I was working with an admin named Michael, and he's a great admin, great business consultant, but he hates everything that is technical. So when I told him, it's easy, you just have simple commands and it will ask you questions, you answer with a left, a down arrow, etc., told me, go to hell. But I had to work with him. So I said, okay, you don't want to use command lines. I will build you a menu so you will be able to work with clicks and not command lines. So it means that today when you are an admin and you want to use Sfdx-hardis on a DevOps project, you never write a single command line. You just click on a menu on a VS Code extension, and again, it is open source, so no black box, and with more extra features, not just for DevOps only, but this will be the topic of another presentation, and you will see in a demo. And today we have more than 3,500 installations, so again, it's worth to have good reviews too.
Okay, so let's go now into the concrete stuff, practical stuff. How does it work? Where do we go from, okay, I know there is a solution, to I want to implement it? Well, let's look at the roles that we should consider when putting in place CI/CD. I was going to say with open source, but basically CI/CD for everyone. Well, first, you should have a setup manager. They own the strategy. And they don't intervene a lot, but you need them at the start and when they got to do some magic, you know. Then you got your release manager, and they own the process, and they're going to be there throughout the duration of your project. And then, well, we've got the contributors, and yeah, everybody at Dreamforce, almost everybody at Dreamforce, they own the product, they own the features, and they want to deliver them.
Right. So, what is a setup manager? So, to show that they really exist, we put some pictures. So, you can see that we have today admins that are trained to be setup manager. We have admins that are able to install a DevOps project with Sfdx-hardis on any project, not just a new one. So, basically, what they have to do is configure Git and initialize org strategy, and but every step to make a setup is fully documented, and even with videos on Sfdx-hardis documentation. And so you can see Clouditors, but also we have more and more people from even competitors, but I like to be friends with competitors. That's how it works with open source. And so today we have already a lot of people, and even some I don't know of. We have someone in South Africa, we have someone in Germany, we have someone in Finland. LinkedIn is a good place. And to do that, you need to know Git, Sfdx, and Salesforce. But once the Sfdx-hardis CI/CD pipeline is installed, oh, branch strategy, forgot. So this one will be really quick. If you are not a Git expert, you don't need to understand it. All you need to understand is that we have a way to handle parallelly the build and the run. So it means that you build your first milestone for your client, and then you put it in production, and you have a second milestone to build. So while you build your second milestone, you also want to handle the day-to-day operation, so you can work directly as a run. So it is all integrated, and again, you have more documentation and more videos on Sfdx-hardis. You need to have a release manager who know at least the basics of Git. But you need only one. You can have one release manager with 10 admins if you want. It will work, because this release manager will help the contributors that are for the next slides, that are people like Jean-Pierre, who are not technical, to handle complicated stuff like conflicts, stuff like that. And they will also handle the big deployments to UAT, pre-prod, production, etc. They will give source tracked sandbox, because except for very specific cases, we don't use scratch or giz anymore because they are boring. And they can also maintain CI/CD configuration, and you can see that we already have people from different clients and competitors that are using Sfdx-hardis as a release manager, and even some of them learned alone. They didn't even contact me, they just told me someday, hey Nico, we are using Sfdx-hardis on our project, it's cool, thank you. Love it.
And finally, we have the contributors. So as we said, they own the features and they want to use your pipeline every day. And so, you know their job, it's your job probably. They customize Salesforce according to the requirements by designing layouts, landing pages, LWC for developers, obviously, and functions with different automations. They build the data model as well. And at the end of the day, when they are happy with their work, they go ahead and they create a merge request. And that way, they're going to start the deployment process from sandbox to production. And the best thing with that is that basically, the required expertise is quite low actually. Obviously, you need to know Salesforce, otherwise you wouldn't be here. You need to read the documentation. That's better, you know. You spend a few hours on this and the documentation is readily available online. And you watch videos that Nicolas and other contributors made. So, you know, pretty easy.
And you also need to know how to click, because that's only what you will need to do.
Okay, that's all fine. But how do we work as a contributor? What do we do concretely?
That's easy, Jean-Pierre. You just have to learn a little list of command lines, but you can copy-paste, and as you see, you can replace some variables with the
No. We said we don't do that.
Truly, you have one button. Start a new task. Think it's easier for you, Jean-Pierre?
I think I can do that. The one on the right.
Start a new task, follow instructions, exactly. Okay. So when you completed your work, so you just have to do for source pool, and sometimes something is...
Again, Nicolas, we said I don't get that.
Okay, so just a button is better, and as you can see, there are lovely guinea pigs named Cupcake and Romain. And I think it's really better when you're an admin to take care of your pets than to learn how to do boring Git command lines and whatever.
Much better. And we should say, no animals or admins or developers were harmed in the making of this presentation.
And then, when you completed your one, you want to prepare your merge. I think everyone see me coming. You still look happy, Jean-Pierre.
Oh, man.
Admins. Okay. Maybe it's better to spend time with your colleagues at Dreamforce than to learn, again, Sfdx and Git commands. Okay.
I'd rather do that.
Okay, so button, click save, and you have questions, you answer, you will see in the demo. And what you do after, Jean-Pierre?
And so you create a merge request in user interface, like, you know, easy stuff, easy to do. You just give it a nice name, you give it a description, please don't forget about that. Of course, you're working with a ticketing system, so you put your ticket references there so that everybody can remember what would have been done, you know, 2, 3, 4 years ago, and then you just go ahead and you start your process like that.
Okay, so UI with title description, it's okay for you? No clicks again. Only clicks again.
No clicks is AI.
Okay, so when you create your merge request, which is I want to publish something, we don't like the technical debt. So with a native CI/CD of Sfdx-hardis, we will trigger control jobs. The first one is a deployment simulation. So for example, if you want to publish a layout and the layout contains a new field that you forgot to select, it will tell you not okay, add your field. So it will ensure that the consistency of what you want to deploy, like with a check set. And there is also a quality check. So for the quality check, we use another great open source tool named Megalinter, and it contains PMD for Apex, it contains LWC. If some savage people put hard-coded credentials, it will detect it, so you won't have security risks for your clients. If you have people who do too many copy-pastes, it will also detect it, and everything is of course configurable. So if you want to bypass everything, you can, but by default, they force you to do clean work, and usually clean work is better for the future. And very soon, we will also integrate the flow linter. So the flow linter, it is, like now all of you are developers, so like any developer, you can make mistakes. The flow linter will detect silly mistakes in flows and tell you, you shall not pass. Okay, but sometimes I see Jean-Pierre, admins, they are never happy. But when you see an error, there is an error during the deployment process. So I was very happy to say, hey, we have put the errors in red, so it's easy for you to find them in the big log.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Nobody likes to read huge logs. So to avoid that, we create automated messages on the pull request, so on GitLab, GitHub Azure, and Bitbucket, and it will display in a nice way the errors, but it will also add you tips about how to solve the errors. So it means that when you see a deployment error, we will give you the information about how to solve it. Even when sometimes you have to hack some XML or whatever, we tell you that in the information. So admins, when something is wrong, most of the time they can correct their issues themselves. But sometimes, merge conflict, Git, XML, files, whatever, this is not the job of an admin. Like failing test class, like if Jean-Pierre did a mandatory field and it broken 10 test classes, he doesn't know how to code yet. So in that case, you call your best friend, the release manager, that will help you, that will manage that for you. He can do it from his computer, remotely, it's okay. So everything is planned. Now, maybe, so we know that on Dreamforce, some people announce a lot of things, blah, 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 someday, winter 25, etc. But we wanted to show you that what we presented you today is in production in many of our clients and our competitive clients. So usually I do live demo, but I was not so brave this time, so I recorded a tiny video that I will comment if it plays. So we told you, you start to work, start a new task. I'm not a good video editor. It prompts you questions, you answer to questions like what is the name of your task, and select your sandbox that you want to work with. And there is a script, but scripts are automated. It's just for nerds like me to see what is happening behind, because it's important to understand what is happening behind. But if you don't understand anything, that's okay. And at the end, you have your sandbox open. And now, you just work like every day. So for example, you will create a field that we will name randomly, very randomly. And again, I'm in advance, that we will name very randomly Dreamforce.
Nice, you didn't forget the description.
Yes, yes.
Good one.
So now, thanks to this presentation, you know how to create a field. And as I am not a good admin, I selected all the profiles and page layouts because I like to work fast. But then I completed my work and I want to select what I want to publish. So I have another button that will bring back all the updates as metadata in Visual Studio Code. And now I can pick in all the updates only the ones that I want to publish. So I will just select my field and one layout, and not all the mess that has been automatically updated because I was too fast. And so I just add a little text to say the name of what I want to publish. And then I just have a button, Save Publish My Current Task. I click on it, and automatically it will do stuff in background, like updating Package XML file. So you won't need to create a Package XML file manually ever with Sfdx-hardis, and also with Sfdx Git data, which is called in the background. So again, a lot of scripts, but you cannot find. It's okay if you don't understand, if it's not your job. You see Git Operations, etc. And then it will create the famous merge request or pull request, depending when you want. So you go to, for example, GitHub Uriah, and like it was presented by Jean-Pierre, a title, not a description because I needed to have a shorter demo. And it creates a pull request, and you will see that it creates the famous control jobs. So you see the mega linter one for quality gate, and you see the simulation of deployment to the upper level, like integration level. And you see mega linter results directly in a command on the pull request. With Apex, etc. If you have issues, you just click on it and it will show you the issues. And the deployment result, as it was for demo, it's okay. You see the code coverage is 91%, so the day you will want to deploy in production, it will not be the famous 74% code coverage. Let's add a lot of stupid lines just for it to pass. That's over. And now, I merge my merge request because the content was okay, and automatically, there is a deployment job, so this is the server that will do the deployment to the integration org, because to each major branch you have a major org. So it would work the same if you want to deploy from UAT to pre-production or production to pre-production to production. So, and as we like performances, we use you know the quick deploy button after simulation. We can call it by API, so we do that. So, so with 2 hours installation, you can have all that. And it can seem a little scary because it's in VS Code, but once you tell your admin that once they have installed VS Code, they won't have to do code or command lines, can pass. And now let's see to the target integration org that the field that we just created is existing. I hope it will, maybe because I made a video. Yes, we see our Dreamforce field. Perfect. And I did want to start the demo again. We have seen it enough. But we know that Dreamforce is a place for enhancements. We didn't have. So I was kind of bored in my hotel room 2 years ago after a little party with my colleagues here. But I have not drunk enough to not be able to code, so I decided to create a new feature for Sfdx-hardis that can help, again, admins, developers, and everyone. We created the integration between Sfdx-hardis and Slack. It means that now, thank you. So now every time there will be a deployment to any org, you will have Slack messages with, you can take a guinea pig, but you can take your boss or whatever stuff, but you can configure Slack and Sfdx-hardis in 5 minutes. So every time there is a deployment in, for example, UAT, pre-prod production, you will see, and if you click on the buttons, you will see the details. So when there is a deployment, you can just click on it, and you will see who has just deployed what. So, so you are not obliged to open GitHub, GitLab, etc., and see everything happening. Just have to have a channel, and you can even have a channel by org. So you can see live everything happening in any org related to deployments. We had some people to thank. First, I will start to thank my competitors. Because you see that Leo, who works at Fluido, he made the integration between Sfdx-hardis and GitHub. You see Roman, who is in Germany, who works as a freelancer, he made the integration with Bitbucket. I have to complete the pull request. But basically, these guys I didn't know of. They needed Sfdx-hardis, but it was just working on GitLab, and by themselves, they contributed to the project to make it possible. And we also have a lot of other people, so colleagues, but also people that help to code in Sfdx-hardis, like Sébastien Colladon from Salesforce, like Jamilette from Use, who is one of our clients. And so basically, we have internal contributors from Cloudity, but also external contributors, because as the tool is more and more widely used, when you need a feature or a debug, you can do it yourself, and you are really welcome for that. And We have some credits because we have some people who don't code. Vernon, I think this is the time you should look. You're Einstein, because Vernon is Einstein of DevOps, as he is hosting Salesforce the first website who offered me to write a nice article on the Sfdx-hardis. So thank you, Vernon. But also other people that by asking features, that complaining about something not working or something doing better, made Sfdx-hardis and everything around better. You see the little U? It means that you, all of you, you want a new feature, something more, ask it. Maybe we'll say no if we don't have the time, or maybe we will say, find a developer and code it, and we will integrate it. But really, it's from the feedbacks from all users that we build a better product, again, open source and free for everyone.
Guys, it doesn't get any better than that. We've got contributors from all over the world helping with this free open source project.
Jean-Pierre, these are the users, not the contributors.
Okay.
But so it's already nice.
Okay, nice. So we got people in Australia, in the US. I hope we get someone from Dreamforce today to speak about this. Nice. Guys, it's amazing. It's truly the Trailblazer community in action. We have so many people working on this, contributing on this, and so it's a free open source project. It's helping, a lot of people on their everyday job. And well, I don't know about you, but I really think that it's really the Trailblazer community in action.
So we don't want to look like a cult, but join us. And you have a QR code, so you have everything on the documentation, and you can also add us on LinkedIn. We are really happy to answer to any question, even to provide support. If it's 1 month support, maybe we'll ask for a contract. But if it's 2 hour support, it will be for free and gladly. And feedback, again, we love feedbacks, so we are waiting for them.
A quick word about Rad Women, a shout out to them. We think that we need more women in coding, so please guys, whenever you can, do help this cause. And the best thing would be that next year we would present more female contributors in those sites. Again guys, please give your survey, put 5 stars if you were happy with the presentation. That will help us give this presentation hopefully again at another Salesforce event. And if you need to address something else, we'll be around after the presentation.
We have some KPIs to provide to our bosses if we want to be able to be invited next year, because Dreamforce is a budget. So yeah, it's important to make survey. It will help for us to grab our plane ticket for Dreamforce 24 and present you amazing new stuff that maybe you will ask for.
And that's a wrap. Thank you, everyone.